Welcome back to the Jewish Futurism Lab, where we unpack Torah, tech, and tomorrow. I'm your host, Mike Worth, Jewish futurist, community artist, and design educator, coming to you from Crown Town, Charlotte, North Carolina. Today, I'm sitting down with Elisha Fine. Elisha is a historian, social worker, and activist in New York City, and his work founding the Hatikvah Sticker Collective and leading the hostage sticker movement is a living case study in Jewish futures. We get into how his Jewish story led him into street art and public ritual, how he imagines the next chapter of Jewish visibility and resilience, and what experiments, risks he's gonna take. Let's get into it, y'all. Welcome back, y'all. Today I'm sitting down with Elisha Fine, a fellow Jewish futurist traveler and grassroots movement builder based in New York City. Elisha's journey runs from studying modern Jewish history and working in social services to a life of Jewish street art, sticker campaigns, and communal resilience. And he has spent years helping Jews show up more visibly and courageously in public spaces. In our conversation, we explore how his Jewish origin story shaped his activism, the turning points that led to the Hatikvah Sticker Collective, and how he thinks about designing tools for Jewish presence in the future. We also reflect on what it means to garden our cities with Jewish ritual and imagery, and how small acts of art and courage can scale into an entire movement. So friends, here's my conversation with Elisha Fine. Elisha, welcome so much to the program today.
Just beyond delighted. This is great.
Fabulous. And you know, you and I have been connected, I think, since like November 2023. And we've collaborated together. Once you put out the call for the Sticker Collect, even it was just like, hey, I'm doing stickers. I don't even know what this is yet. Like, just holler at me. You've been just such a light in the community, and you've just not let anything stop you. And you're a juggernaut, my friend. So kudos for getting such a great project off the ground.
Listen, it's almost like Instagram was waiting. It needed a level. If you start to treat Instagram like the people on there are real, they become real.
Indeed.
Like all these accounts, and they assume that there's someone behind there and they want to talk to you. And suddenly they're on WhatsApp, and now we're on a podcast, and then all these people all over the world putting up these stickers, which has been mind-blowing to me to this day, that anyone would do anything that I asked them to do, ever.
It is amazing.
Just a suggestion. Why don't you put it up? And they do.
Yeah.
They did, and they do.
I know, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear about the impact of the Hatikvah Collective. But I want to always, with guests, rewind and take us back like any good superhero story and hear the origin, right? So how did Elisha become Elisha Fine, the founder of Hatikvah Sticker Collective now, and the amazing person you are?
Well, if we're doing comic books, I've always liked the Sandman.
Me too, man. Neil Gaiman is wow. Yeah.
Like Vertigo comics. If we can go for that vibe, I think we're there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I love me some Vertigo. So
That's
so
it.
tell us your Vertigo story then. That sounds exciting.
Well, like any good Vertigo story, it starts in Geneva and in a graveyard.
Yeah.
I was a PhD student before October 7th hit. As soon after October 7th hit, I joined the tribe of former PhD students. And what I've learned is those that quit their PhD programs inevitably need to find something to do.
Wow. So where were you? What was the program in the school?
I was at Yeshiva University, and I was studying Jewish cultural nationalism. That was the subject, and it was specifically about death and dying. And I got really into this philosopher and I was studying about gravestones, and I was going around. I was this big weirdo, and I was going around taking photos of graves all over the New York area, Jewish grave sites, and studying how the practice of death and dying changed in the modern period, and how there's actually been a retraditionalization of death and dying that's happened without anyone noticing, that the Orthodox rabbis were able to put together sometime over the course of the 40s and 50s. Before that, it was all run by funeral parlors, which is not our topic right now. But the reason I bring it up is I was going around taking photos of grave markers because they were fascinating. And among those were these 1910, 1920 gravestones that would have these faded out photos of how do I put it? Children who have died. And so they're really creepy and ghostly. And they use photography for some of the same these ancient photographs. Some of them are a little bit ripped. You can see what I'm getting at. When October 7th hit, I was doing something that a lot of PhD students do, former PhD students who leave their programs do. And I really wanted to serve the Jewish world at that point. I was tired of libraries. I was tired of sitting still. And so, but at that point, I was doing my equivalent of rollerblading. I was going around taking pictures of my dog, Shayna Punnam, and in this pet account space, which amazingly was having a massive conflict with the Palestinian pet account space.
Oh my God.
Right after October 7th.
Wow.
And so they were losing all their contracts, and it's really easy to sell a golden retriever, and she makes a great subject. And I happen to live in Harlem, South Central Harlem, and taking funny pictures of my dog and learning photography a little bit. And what do I come across? Hostage posters everywhere. Really just everywhere. And it was
like the ones that Knits on Mitts and
Dead Band-Aid made. And this was near the end of it, when I really started to notice. And very soon,
end of what? Sorry,
this was I can almost make an entire chronology in my head of hostage posters and their ripping, because I was on the streets taking pictures. And so very soon, first I was taking pictures of my dog with and this is like I was doing Shabbos posts, like we would do like the dog with a bowl of cholent kind of thing. Silly stuff. Like,
you're like a Bundist.
maybe a dog with a bowl of and it very quickly turned into dog at the hostage rally. But you can actually follow the transition at some point. The last post, I'll get there.
So you grew up in like what kind of family, and did you grow up in New York?
I am an academic Army brat.
Oh, okay.
So my parents, my mom is a Jewish educator. Now a Maharat. My dad is a professor of Jewish art and Talmud at Yeshiva University. But before he got there, we were all over the country: Israel, New York, LA, Baltimore, really all over the place. Cincinnati.
Wow. And did you grow up Orthodox or a varying degree?
I'm a weird mix, if I had to say, because I feel like I've gotten into when you're that kind of academic army brat, you end up and in the Orthodox world, you end up encountering everyone because no one quite makes your parents happy. So I went to a Haredi school, I went to a community school, I went to modern Orthodox schools and camps. So by the time I was out, I felt like I got to meet every kind of by the time my schooling was done, like there are very few Jews that were different that I felt like the entire Jewish world that were basically had something to say to each other. It was easy. Chabad. I already had a soft spot for. I remember like learning Tanya with the head meshachist of one of the head meshachists in the world, this Rabbi Colmanson, and in this dark room in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we invited everyone in the community school in my project with this big plumber guy who gave me this giant set of D&D books. Of course, was to, clean up the shul and in this small town. So I think there's
What
a
a
lot
reward.
yeah, truly. There's a pile of D&D books from like first edition. It's so much fun.
That's incredible.
I know, they're great.
So you talked about being a PhD student. What kind of things were you doing like before that PhD program in your life that like kind of helped you prepare creatively? It sounds like you had a parent who's in the art world.
My
So
dad there is a giant arch of an ancient synagogue in my parents' apartment. It's made of plywood, so you can kind of tap it and it'll make a hollow sound. But it's this classical arch in my parents' apartment. There are about 25 menorahs from all over the world. It's like I grew up in the Addams family of Jewish art.
That's such a great metaphor.
Their house is a museum when people come to see them.
Yeah, but stay a little. We'll have a little nosh.
Exactly.
Oh,
and they're
man.
Californian, so it had a hippie vibe to it. So yeah, so there's that. I went to Yeshiva University where in Yeshiva you meet, there's this little circle of Jewish study, of people that take to the Jewish studies department. And it's this beautiful little liberal Orthodox circle of the oddballs of the Orthodox world end up finding themselves there. It's a good place at Revel at Yeshiva University. It's the kind of place where I was the only classics major at Yeshiva University. So it was me and Louis Feldman, who's who's the Gilgul of Josephus. He's this little tiny man. He was 94 at the time, and I was the only one that signed up to his course. And of course, I'm sitting with this 94-year-old man in his walker, and we're reading antiquities together. So like, it was a weird place to grow up and go to college. It was a bit like being a monk. So coming out of October 7th, there was a rich place to spread my wings a little bit.
So had you had any experience with stickers or posters or printing or graphic? No. Okay.
You know what? That's not true. That's not exactly true.
Okay.
For our wedding, my wife and my constant and companion research project throughout my MA by undergrad and MA in Jewish history at YU was the Bezalel School.
Oh, excellent. So Boris Schatz, yep.
Boris Schatz,
Ryan Moses,
Lillian,
the architects.
The architects.
The Bauhaus.
It's not coming to me immediately, but it was my constant visual companion, because almost this fantasy of an Israel that no longer turned to modernism even as they were working. That's an Israel that turned to but all the Judaica, all this kitschy stuff that maintained the Bezalel tradition. So I'll get back to Bezalel when I get to Hatikvah Collective, but the Bezalel school was a huge influence on me. So should I get the PhD?
So
Which is a whole.
did something about October 7th like cause you to leave the PhD program, or was it just that was already happening at the same time?
My advisor was on his way out as it was happening, and it was a matter of timing.
Oh.
But it's a matter of timing.
But then boom, October 7th happens. You've been shooting these photographs, right, with Shayna Punham, right, which beautiful face for our
exactly, yeah,
our community here. Yeah, what then clicks in your mind, Elisha? Was it like something you saw, or was it like an idea and then you committed it to sticker, or like how did the first sticker happen?
First sticker, it wasn't a sticker. First sticker was a how do I put it? A Geniza. It was a Geniza.
Explain.
There were all of these ripped and violated and just really visually destroyed hostage posters with the faces of the hostages everywhere. And I decided at a certain point that with my job, while I had the time and was figuring things out, was to document these. And this is in Manhattan, the Upper West Side, Upper East Side. So it was the center of this war, was to document this visual destruction of Jews. And that's ultimately why I ultimately led to being in the film Torn. Where I talk about where it shows me collecting and putting them in frames and books and talking about how there's a kedusha to these hostage posters. And that all came going back. The Lillian piece goes back is just to go back a minute, playing it loose. I made a bencher using Lillian. So I do have a little bit of experience for my wedding.
Say what a bencher is.
A bencher is a prayer, a little prayer booklet, and so Lillian has these frames that he would make, that each of them, and he had about 100 of them that you could play with to put text within. So he has these beautiful Art Nouveau frames with biblical and Jewish themes, and I dedicated it to my wife, and it has a photo of E.M. Lillian in the back. That goes to Hatikvah. The stickers, that goes back to destruction and Torn and all that fun stuff. And it goes right back to the PhD, because I was taking very early on, I started taking, me and a lot of other people, but I didn't know anyone else doing it, was taking photos of this. And I have a social work, my profession is social work. But every social worker I know has a bit of a lot of us have a ambition to do some community organizing. So I read Alinsky, and I was reading about, you know what I'm talking about, Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky is the founder of community organizing as a discipline, and he's this Jewish guy. He's really great. He wrote about everything that we hate about our current style of politics. We can almost put back to him, the in-your-face, powerful, give the people what they want so that they could feel confident to organize for themselves and get in the face and treat mockery as a form of communication. It's not nice, but by the same token, it organized people that otherwise didn't have a way to do it, mobilize them. So Saul Alinsky, this is all to say that within a couple minutes after taking my own photos, I had the inkling that maybe other people had their, this is a community or community ethos. Maybe other people had their own photos. So I put out a call, and on my new, it started as an essay, actually. My wife and I went on vacation and started on vacation to Mexico because we desperately were just exhausted, and we'd never done anything like that.
Oh.
So I'm sitting by the pool writing about these ripped hostage posters.
Oh, yeah, you know how to relax, Elisha, don't you?
I sure do. and reading the drafts to my wife in front at the beach.
In earshot of people. Like,
oh yeah.
What is he talking about?
What is this? Photos and all.
Wow.
And I realize I'm probably not going to get into the New Yorker within the next month if I keep, or tablet. Sure. So I make an Instagram page, and I put out a call in my best social worker voice that I was putting on, of just, you're trying something new. And that's kind of the theme of all of this, of an entire, I feel like nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been wasted in all this. Everything that I have been through in life isn't somehow found its way into the artistic activism that I've had the privilege of being a part of. That's a theme that plays out again and again.
And you think it's because there's so much newness and novelty and the things that you're doing, like they feel like experiments, but they have impact and effect, and they seem to be working out and positive?
I think because in a strange way, activism is both a form of self-formation, as most things are, but it's also an opportunity to play a little bit. I'm wearing a shirt that Gabe Draw made that says Zionist on it. I'm essentially wearing, you mentioned superhero. It's a costume.
Sure. Yep.
You put this on, and suddenly there's a confidence and a alter ego that you can take on when you're in activist mode, and a positivity, and so that means that every element of the things that we've been talking about of a life can play out in the creation in the creation of things. I'm being philosophical about it. I'm not even halfway done with this story. There's this artist in Harlem. Her name, Randy is her name. Doodle Drip.
Okay.
And Jewish artist, and she'd write essentially "fuck Hamas" everywhere in this nice script, or like "Hamas hates you too."
Wow.
Yeah.
Get right to it. Yeah.
Yeah, she got right to it, and she was one of the few doing it, and she was doing it on mail posts. And there was another group called the
Mail Stickers.
Mail Stickers, exactly, like graffiti. She's part of the which they turned on her hard.
Oh no!
Yeah,
so she was in the graffiti writing scene.
Exactly.
This artist?
Exactly. She told me all about it when we got together, and all of the reason we got together in the first place, and I realized this is a wandering sort of story, is
that's quite all right.
I asked people to send me their images of ripped hostage posters all over the world on this Instagram page that was originally called, before a sticker campaign and now my own name, Elisha Fine. It was called Save the Hostage Posters at the time. That was the first iteration, and I have hundreds of photos from all over the world of ripped hostage hostage posters in all different variations, and eventually this led to being included in the film as a character in the film Torn. That all concurrent to that is it got immensely depressing so depressing to look at this really endless symbolic violence against Jews after October 7th.
It's so childish. It's like this childish hatred that like is seemed unrelenting, didn't it? Because it was like you could have shot photos for the rest of your life, you know,
I could have done it to this day in
still to
some
this day.
capacity.
Yeah. Wow.
Someone's putting up a hearse somewhere, which is still a thing in some corners. It's their morning. Maybe the last person, but someone's doing it somewhere. I think I've seen it around. But
So when you started to this first iteration, you started to kind of amass a kind of a group of like-minded people, it seems like.
it happened quick enough. There's kind of a double story here. There's the sticker campaign, which reached real heights. Those and the Hatikvah Sticker Collective, and the two, one built the other, and they merged together.
Mm-hmm.
So the sticker campaign, as it happened, was this. I was looking for people that I realized it's meeting this artist in Harlem, and at the same time, there was a group called the New York Sticker Factory that was
cool.
putting. I didn't make up the thermal stickers; they did,
Nice.
which is amazing. They put out these really punk, snarky messages, and I went to one of their meetings. And looked at what they were doing and gave away their stuff. And after that, I feel like I'm telling this story in a series of vignettes that just keep flowing. How the point of it is eventually I meet a Soviet Jewry activist, and it's like Soviet Jewry activist. Who's a printer at the hostage rally. At this point, I'm on a mission to make stickers, and I make a GoFundMe. I go around asking people, how can we do this? And they start funding it. But stickers are expensive.
Right.
Like actual vinyl hostage stickers are expensive, because I had this notion that the way I'm going to help is to keep this campaign going, which is a problem of materials.
Right. Right.
And
it's like you can rip a poster, and it's a little harder to rip vinyl or some of the other
and
materials.
You can put it up more quickly, and you can move more quickly, and seniors can do it without fear, without having to tape for 5 minutes.
Right.
It's all in every way an improvement to use a sticker.
Right. My grandson's going to hold my purse while I put up my sticker. Yeah.
And there are stories. There are stories in our book. God's throne is covered with hostage stickers, which is our oral history, which I'm happy to go into. That exactly describe that. Exactly. There's a.
So can I ask, like, what with sticker campaign? You had now amassed the technology, right?
Like
and the skills.
I found a printer, and he was a print broker, and I talked to him about I talked to him about the Soviet Jewry movement. He goes, I was part of the Soviet Jewry movement.
Wow.
And so the two of us become real partners for a long time in getting these out. We were organizing sticker squads where we would go with Izzy is his name, is Israel Friedman, wonderful human being. Nice. And he would go around, and we would organize sticker squads in a WhatsApp group. And that's the basis of how, in the end, we printed around 450,000 of these and shipped them around the country. We asked people to take photos of them. It was this exercise in hope. Because if you could keep the faces of the hostages alive, you develop this connection to them that was, well, let me tell you. Let me tell the story. Around the time of when this should illustrate that level of connection. Right. And this is Goldberg Pollen.
Right.
The book is called God's Throne is Covered with Hostage Stickers, and it has this image from Naftali Ash, this wonderful artist. Should have him on at some point. He's right up your alley. Naphtali Ash of
He
God's.
Orthodox guy who paints like the Kabbalistic imagery.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's done a couple of our. He's done a couple stickers. He does like Parshat Shavua every week. I'll send
Nice.
him your stuff if you haven't seen it. It's really up your alley.
Nice.
He's a real illustrator, so he's got that modern day, and his main inspiration is like Indonesian art and Arthur Szyk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's another Jewish artist.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
so the book
on its cover, it has a biblically accurate angel, with a throne covered with God's throne covered in hostage posters and stickers, and out of the beams are all the prayers of the people coming in and out, and there are these hands, these lightning hands ripping up the posters as they're coming in and out. And I was told about this and this should encapsulate a lot, by a woman who's one of them put up the face of Kfir Bibas and all the hostages on Columbus and Central Park West from the beginning all the way till the end. And she and maybe two other people maintain this area. We probably gave her hundreds and hundreds of stickers for her to do this.
What's her name?
I'm sure she wouldn't want it shared.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, I know for a fact.
Sure. But a major collaborator, contributor.
Exactly. And there were people like this who just took to these stickers with a level of religious ferocity.
Love that.
And so she tells this story while we're having a vigil for the beautiful six. Probably 2 nights later, and we're in the Central Park. We're on a bench. It's twilight, and the dogs and there's candles, and we're telling stories. And I had printed out using our stickers, our thermal stickers, which we're just starting to get into its circulation. Kel Malei Rachamim, the mourning, which goes back to the death piece, and the thermal print and the thermal printed images of their faces. And she tells me, Elisha, I've been meaning to tell you for months. I had a dream, and it's really something. And she tells me how she dreams of that same image that I just described to you of Tully, which I asked him. I call him at one point. Can you draw it? And he does. We actually went to high school together, of all things. MTA.
Nice.
Yeah. Point being, endlessly distractible. Point being, she looks at me and goes, I saw God's throne in a dream. And she says with great specificity, she goes to the heavens like a Yoredet Merkava and talks to the angels and sees the prayers, which are posters, going up through the various rings, and then the evil forces trying to rip them. And she asked, why aren't the
Can you hear me? Let me stop you really quick.
Yeah.
I lost you for like the good beginning of that story. Could you start fresh? Because it cut right when you said, all right, here's the story.
Oh, totally.
Thank you. I'm going to cut my video too, just so maybe a little bit better. Yeah. If you want to also, for memory's sake, maybe it works.
Totally. She goes, I saw God's throne covered with hostage stickers in a dream. And I rose up through the heavens and I saw them ripped, and I talked to the angels who who I asked why are the angels, and this is an Orthodox woman, why aren't the babies who were slaughtered in the Holocaust protecting us? And this woman is just having this trippy dream. And I remember very distinctly reading a book in at some point in school about how the Nazis, the Nazi takeover in the 30s, had um, led psychoanalysts to document the dreams of the of Jews who are experiencing this incredible anxiety, and like the Nazi rise infected and affected people's dreams, and so was the hostage movement, and so were our stickers. And so the book is really about it started as a search for these dreams, and it really turned into, as I was interviewing people for it, a story of October 7th Jews, whether they had a deep background or a new one. How they used stickers and public space to define themselves after October 7th and become and make being Jews their primary identity. And so that's what starts out the book, and that's been my experience of the sticker campaign. The Hatikvah Sticker Collective started, frankly, when we ran out of money for hostage stickers.
So what did you end up doing, or what was the new kind of behavior or activity that you were able to convert the sticker campaign into with Hatikvah?
Well, early on, after October 7th, I had walked into the New York Sticker Factory, this group that was printing out these snarky and beautifully snarky designs, like a Kermit the Frog who was sipping tea, going, "Curb your enthusiasm, curb your anti-Semitism," stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they printed out hundreds of them in color, thousands, and I was giving them out that first day. And
what was that like when
people liked them a lot because they offered a snarkiness that hostage posters didn't.
Sure.
Yeah, a real punk atmosphere, attitude that's really captured in a lot of one of our artists, whose shirt I'm wearing, Gabe brings to it. So it occurred to me that, all right, we have this machine that can print stickers really cheaply. I wonder what else it can do besides these little line drawings. And to my delight, it prints black and white beautifully.
Yeah.
And cheap.
And not just halftones, right? Like it'll do a nice photo with
depending on the printer. Totally. If you use the right dithering technique, absolutely.
Yeah. Because the printer is what, like 150 DPI or LPI, whatever it functions.
It can go anywhere from 300 to 201.
Well, that's print resolution. Yeah, that's print, man. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. But the 203, you still have to design for it because it's a little fuzzy. Anyway, point being, I realize I am tired of raising money for hostage posters because it's an endless process, hostage stickers. And we'd already gotten through, the point had been made, a whole new generation had gone, a whole new set of Americans had, in the first group was really Israeli, of the people that put up hostage posters, not exclusively, but many.
Sure.
At least in my experience, this group was largely American that put up the stickers, and older as a group. Which, because they older and younger, like people that couldn't put up the posters, put up the stickers, which gave us an inherent audience when we switched to these thermals, which are great because they're cheap, and cheap has an authenticity onto itself by itself. So anyone can print it. So it actually was an argument between us and the New York Sticker Factory. They were like, "Don't give it away. They'll find out." Except we knew that in places like Montreal, the encampments would bloom out for a mile or three because some student had printed out thermal stickers of these vile materials, and so there were all these like anti-Israel, anti-Hamasnik stickers a mile out from the Montreal encampment where my in-laws happened to be. So I happened to see it.
Oh man.
So yeah. So I'm myself and Mighty Matzo Ball and a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Hatch a scheme. Mighty Matzo Ball, Rochelle.
Yep.
And over in Toronto, where they're having a hell of a time to this day.
Yes.
With anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic material.
Wasn't there just didn't somebody just light something on fire and burn down an entire
Montreal?
Yeah, right. Like a meeting
restaurant.
place, restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, completely burned to the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so our stickers have been a way, in some ways, to mark those occasions, and suddenly we also could change designs on a whim with thermal printing. So we put out a second call, much like much like the many calls we've made to get stickers, to send your images. We said we want artists to design, and this is where you came in. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
We want artists who can design for this really specific, beautiful medium of thermal printing, and we wanted to present it as a medium of like this craft that hadn't been played with before.
Not really. Yeah.
Not really. Not to its full potential. I have not anywhere.
No, I would totally agree. I mean, because that's I have a history in stickers. I did the wannabe Shepherd Fairy thing and created Dr. Caligari. That was my.
Oh, I love that.
If you search on Instagram, it's a no longer active account, Dr. Caligari CLT for Charlotte. You'll see my shenanigans.
Does Dr. Caligari have a posse?
No, I never made that sticker, but I definitely like ripped off every other sticker and did a lot of brandalism and stuff. But when I got the printer, I was like, yo, this is like a game changer. These are so cheap, because I'd spent a lot of money on vinyl and over my years.
Yeah.
But I disliked, and I remember participating in like chats with everybody in the collective, like, how do you get these things to last more than 3 days? And
the fact is, you don't.
I know. It was like you had to embrace that. Everybody was saying, embrace it, Mike, embrace it. And I was like, hey, I can't, like I want more permanence. But.
For sure. And everyone hits that at some point. But in a universe where anything with a Jewish signal or a Jewish symbol or anything is being ripped down, who cares?
Sure. No, you're right. You're right. It's almost like invisible ink too. And you were alluding before about like the point, like the embracing the look of this kind of printer. So talk a little bit about what inspired you, because you had mentioned some Art Nouveau and Bezalel School. Tell us about like your intentions as the curator, right, so to speak, of the collective. Why does it look the way it does?
Because it's in black and white, and it doesn't do shading very well. And I very quickly, things that are that kind of high contrast image, which happens to be in style right now.
Yeah, indeed. Brutalism, right? Like the revival of that aesthetic. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. The Art Nouveau piece was, we really, at a certain point, there was this point after October 7th, probably around 2024, where there was a Jewish effervescence online. Just this there were all of these artists that were creating not just hostage images, but beautiful, just Jewish art. You among them.
Thank
And
you.
and
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So what did you see, and like what were some of your? Uh,
Renaissance,
yeah, it is
a
a
Renaissance
renaissance.
that out of not unlike the Kishinev program. Out of the Kishinev program came Bialik with
Ah,
came Bialik, and out of these pogroms, the Zionist movement, and we really were thinking about the early Zionist movement in this, were able to encourage this Jewish Renaissance and build out of the Haskalah and into something. How do I put it? If you look at a lot of the manifestos that we've put together, because I enjoy writing manifestos as much as you do,
yeah,
if you
they
don't
are
mind my
fun.
saying, they are fun
That's
to
quite
write.
right. Yeah.
Um, and they're not too far off from the Jewish futurism. I was playing off of Giambattista Vico, this Italian philosopher that really just he skips right over all the post-colonial stuff, all the postmodern stuff, because he was writing in 1730.
Ah,
And he was talking directly to this historian of history, this philosopher of history, and he was writing to about Descartes. And he writes, what is true is what is made.
mm,
So that's his frowning. So after October 7th, where everything felt very shattered at this moment of transition, that kept coming back to me of what is true is what is made. And so we could make a new reality out of the old in this moment of newness. Something more authentic, something more intense and electric than what we'd experienced before. And so that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. I love using the Jewish artistic tradition in my stickers. Budko and Steinhardt and all of these in German expressionists and Lillian, because on a sticker in the street, no one knows that they made their art in the 30s and the 20s and 30s. Yeah. And so Gabe draws. We attracted this wonderful group of artists, and we'd meet on occasion, and we'd put all their designs on a website, the hatikvahcollective.net, which is now. It was org before, and that meant that anyone could download these images to their essentially, if you owned a thermal printer, you had a subscription to this library of Jewish, both Renaissance and fist in the air resistance and grief, because half of the images that we had were the names of everyone that was killed on October 7th, or which we made stickers for and covered the city with at one point. Like we made hostage stickers as well. We made alternative hostage stickers because that was really our source, because there were all these images of the hostages at one point. I remember when the B-Bus, and it allowed us, because we could design on the fly, when the B-Bus boys were murdered and Shiri, we could mark their passing, mark their deaths, and in the streets. It's I think for a lot of us, there's this. It's allowed us a level of private Jewish public presence, because no one knows that you put up a sticker, but it changes the environment around you, and that's been so powerful for us. And if I could say what I would want moving forward, is that ethos. Except I think for a lot of us, the stickers were both a connector, because when you're putting up a sticker, you're greeting someone, You're marking space, you're marking territory, you're saying I belong here and this belongs here, and you could rip it down, but I'll put it back up, so there's a defiance to it. And that's the attitude. The next piece of it, and we've done this intermittently and not as often as I'd like, but there's always opportunity for more, is more workshops, because we've done we've done thermal printing workshops with kids and with teens, and with Zionist youth groups, Club Z, and more what we called Hatikvah cafes, where we'd sit in a cafe and talk about Jewish art and design something together, and have someone in the community. It is sort of like Herzl in Vienna cafe. Like there's an active historicism that I think the past often has more examples and better role models than our present. As lovely as as powerful as our present is, the examples of the past are made new, are even more so. So the Viennese cafe, which is really the Beit Midrash secularized, appeals to me quite a bit, and I would love to find. I would love in our. I would sort of like what they have in Boston, but the Hatikvah Collective could be a real source of third spaces, Jewish third spaces, unapologetic Zionist third spaces.
Are you talking about like Lair House?
Exactly, because when you put out the stickers on a table, which by the way, Gabe has also made beautiful signs that we bring to protest. So we become a piece of the protest scene here in New York City and around and in Seattle now, in Toronto and Montreal. It was all over the world at some point, wherever anyone had a thermal printer. Europe, New Zealand. Because anywhere with a thermal printer, you could have these designs, and you would have the same designs as someone else in another place. So there's Benedict Anderson, the historian. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. Say more.
There was a point in the 80s. He wrote this book called Imagined Communities, which there is a point between 1985 or so, or 1988, and like 2010, where you can't read a book on anything to do with nationalism without Benedict Anderson being quoted. And he was a real socialist, and he was an anti-nationalist. And he writes that inherent to the national community is this imagined quality that bourgeois people are coming to, and he uses a term like middle-class bourgeois, using print to create inauthentic traditions of belonging. And I think that's incredibly cynical, because really, as I see it, they're using print to create a national community. If you flip it, he's providing you with a blueprint.
Right, about how to build it in an optimistic way.
Exactly. Like in a moment of loneliness and a moment of disconnect where Jews don't always have the traditional, forget traditional, I hate that word, don't have where shul isn't doing it, where synagogue, temple isn't doing it.
Minhagim.
Yeah, the kahal, all of the old time. I keep saying old, but what I really mean is
core, or
I keep saying old, and
fundamental.
What I really mean is, yeah, essential. Okay. Not pre. There's an element of revivalism in our use of Art Deco and our use of, and that's I have a modern bent, so I tend to go that way. But it would be lovely to go back and use the even older Jewish art historical traditions, the amulets, all of that. That would be fun. Yeah. We should do that sometime. Like get our group together and use a different set of images than we're used to.
Well, I noticed on the page, I was looking through some of the stickers, like just to see, because I haven't looked in a while. There is some Vichinanki, like the paper cutting aesthetic, that would come from a Pale of Settlement. I noticed a couple of people had done that.
Yeah.
And Alicia, as I'm hearing you talk, like you're really like uh, kind of pulling this tension between postmodern thought and kind of what you're dealing with now. And it sounds like what you're experiencing, is very much like in the meta modern school, where you're
I read Josephson's Storm, like
yeah,
the myth of disenchantment.
and that great. That's like the first paper uh, to kick off the meta modern movement. I don't know how you feel about that label being thrown on you, just because like I see you've got this like what's the phrase, uh, ironic sincerity, where you use a hostage poster to like be funny or to like not poke fun, but like to do like your alternativeness as you've described it is 1,000% meta modern. It's not postmodern at all. I think what's cool about great meta modern art, if I'm just using that word, and
Sure.
again, you can stop me and say stop using it.
I don't entirely understand it, but it's better than postmodern. I'll tell you that.
Totally right. I mean, I think if I like it too, and I think
I think
anybody
it's
out there
always
should.
moments of construction and deconstruction, and I
Yes,
think we get the right to choose.
and you've made some incredible points, right? So like, I see that like you're using a protest medium for prototyping, which
Yeah,
I'm like,
100%.
that's amazing, right? That's not postmodern at all, right?
No, very earnestly involved. We've been involved with politics. We were involved in the campaign against Mamdani, who we see as a real threat. And that was a change for us. We had
Yeah,
actively made a choice. This is the one time that we'll do it. And that caused convulsions within our little community because
really.
yeah, because we were
Not everybody was down, huh? They
not
were
everyone was down. And we
because of
thought
their politics, or just like by being on the front of the foot versus the say the back of the foot.
I'd say because we had such a success at defining ourselves through symbols and imagery
Mm,
that we actively made this like I came up with this with Izzy, the Soviet Jewry activist, Soviet Jewry activist,
yeah.
who I had the privilege of learning from, and he he is the child of two survivors of the Bielski partisans.
Mm,
Um, the Bielski partisans were these two Polish men that not Jewish that brought in that saved about 1,000 Jews by bringing them into the forest. You can see their shirt at one of their shirts as a almost icon at the Museum of Jewish Heritage. This Polish like peasant shirt,
yes.
and they
Yeah,
had
the
and he
exhibit came to my city, and they showed like cutaways of what their in their caves and like underground systems look like. Like
like something out of the Bar Kokhba revolt.
yes, yes, like they had a very advanced system of like if they were attacked, they could quickly defend, and everybody had something, you could pull back. And anyway, sorry, I interrupted you, but
Not at all. They
yeah.
to that point, they also had two rules that maintain their community. They were rather simple. Izzy told me.
Mm.
Um, all Jews are welcome. Don't be divisive.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And politics are by their nature divisive. So so that's how have been able to have a community that's included real lefty Tel Avivim that live in New York that are part of the hostage movement, and people that I won't ask if they're Kahanist or not.
Wow. Okay. Right. Well,
All of
see,
them, all of
yeah,
them love stickers. All of them are do something that allows them to be in the same WhatsApp group and wave at each other.
that's amazing. So you have like Enot Wilf, and then like Ben Gavir Smotrich, like that level of
On the stickering Madrega, totally.
wow. Oh man.
So
Wow,
like
that so the group's super diverse, it sounds like, which is
super diverse
wonderful.
and really committed to this do not be divisive. And so the politics, Mamdani was our exception, but we had to that tested the limits of the community, of this really active worldwide community, to its limits. So that's why I'm really quite certain that the imagery and that the embrace of Jewish visual symbols is a way forward, and the interpretation that goes with them, and the making of craft and art. So that's the Hatikvah, what the Hatikvah Collective means to me.
That's beautiful, man. That's what a mission, and it's still unfolding, and it has its own. It's like fluxism, right? It's like it's going in its own direction. I want to ask you, like, uh, how do you know that the collective's goals are achieved? What are your KPIs?
I think they have to be interpreted as the needs of the Jewish people, which is really our community and our allies, changes. In a sense, it's already been at one moment, at one point, it has been achieved. We've achieved our goal. We have created a crew all over the world of Jews who have been changed by the act of what we call stickering, of all things. It's silly, but it works. Who've been changed and who found themselves in this act more than you'd think. By the same token, I don't think our goals are finished, because the Jewish Renaissance that was promised, or I shouldn't say promised, but we yearn for, hasn't arrived yet. And I'm furious about that. So we have to make it arrive.
Say more about that. What are you? What steps are you considering with that? What do you want to see?
That's an ongoing conversation in our community, and as we expand our community, and that's and expanding it is really how you build, not just build, but find out what people need. This is going about what we were talking about right at the start, right before we started talking. Zionism is a counterculture right now. It's always been a counterculture. We might have forgotten that at some point in America, in the assimilationist golden age, so to speak, of the
Sure.
from the 80s to the 2010s, maybe to now. But what I'm trying to get at is Zionism and Judaism are a counterculture. We should act the part. What we can do for that is make stickers and signs and bring people together and find ways to act the part. It's really right out of and we're not the first to do this. We're lucky to not be the first. Chabad has done it. The Jewish catalog people have done it. They right out of the Whole Earth catalog, they created.
You talking about the Thank You Hashem stickers? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the Jewish catalog. You know what I'm talking about?
No. Tell me about this.
Oh,
is this
great.
Just a picture of the Rebbe?
No, this is a different group. This is a group of hippies.
Okay.
Jewish catalog was this guide on how to do DIY Judaism for a lot of the children of the temples who were hippies in the 70s. They read the Whole Earth catalog, and they came to the conclusion that we can do it ourselves. So they would make their own fill-in. They would make their own tzitzit. They would make their own chevra kadisha. They would Jewish storytelling, Jewish education. There's an article and there are 3 of these Jewish catalogs that came out. There's an article on puppetry.
You're kidding me. That's amazing.
Like this. There's an article on Jewish farms. There's like, and in the back is this yellow pages of like where to find a Moel or where to find a community in like 1973. It's great.
Dude, that's crazy.
So
Hey, and
all the
yeah,
hippies that we know and love that came out, we're all reading this book. You know, that might actually be a good thing. We should make a new Jewish catalog.
yeah, you should. I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds like Rav Shalomi Shachter was like a
he comes
consumer of
right
this.
out of that. Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. That tracks.
yeah. It's
Um,
just this like DIY Hasidism. It's all of that,
oh
all
man,
contained in a how to make a community out of scratch.
that's amazing, right? Like that's um, parametric design. That's Jewish systems thinking. I
It's
mean, that's
yeah,
Jewish futurism.
100%, 100%, and it's right, and it's full of these like Mad Magazine style doodles all over the place.
Incredible. All right, I need to see these. I need to
You
find out who
find
these
one and
artists
find
were.
one, you're gonna love it.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, dude, that you put me on. Can I put you onto something? And maybe
Do
you
it, do
already
it, do
know
it.
you're a smart guy. Um, so I've been poking around Yiddish futurism.
Oh, that
Eh,
stuff's cool.
Okay, so you've heard of it before,
Some of
and
it, yeah.
so there's a couple magazines that were that came out in the 20s, like 1919. You know, the Shigalic era, Ella Lissitzky era,
Are you talking about
Unaviz.
Milgram?
Um, I I don't know, but there's three titles. There's one called Jung Yiddish, Yung hyphen Iddish, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a literary magazine, zine type of thing, which I thought, man, that's in your legacy there.
yeah.
Um, one called Kal Yastre,
Mm-hmm.
Khalyastre, and then the last one's called Albatross. So three cool things to maybe check out. There's in my exploration of all things Jewish futurist and looking through a lot of like artistic essays and things, Walter Benjamin, and
Oh my God.
oh yeah, right, Martin Buber, Franz Rosenzweig, uh, that like now I stumbled across this because I was like, all right, with Italian futurism coming out in the early 1900s, and then like the Russian futurists being a thing, not all
Mike, do you
Jews.
have a reading group? I would just sit down and read all of this stuff with you and everyone who's interested in this. That would be such a delight.
Well, you may just be, your mouth to Hashem's ears. You may have just started that, so that'd be great.
The Jewish Futurist Reading Club.
Reading club. Sounds like the Babysitters Club.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be great to put out like a little anthology. And then the other thing you were talking about earlier, with the Bezalel School,
Yeah.
I just taught a class on ritual design, and it's around Shabbat, called Shabbat UX. And our text to read is Jerusalem Rebuilt, um,
Really?
a Daydream, yeah, by Boris Schatz.
Yeah, that's an amazing little pamphlet.
Totally, it's cute. It's naive, it's utopian, but
I
it's
like
like
his Garden of Eden.
exactly right. And there's like the way he describes the Beit HaMikdash being rebuilt and its purpose. It has a brand new purpose, and like Judaism has like really evolved in this space, right? It's a good companion to like Die Alte Neuland, right?
Yeah.
Which has a different futuristic vibe, which
Oh my
is
God.
really great.
It's to just play with this. Speaking of Boris Schatz, I love that you brought him up. Um, did you know that he was um, responsible for the folk art and national styles of not just Israel but also Bulgaria?
Yes, that he rose to become like the vizier. He's very much the Joseph of Bulgaria, and he
Yeah,
gave it all up, right, to pursue uh, Zionism. Right, he
he
was
did.
after
It
attending the
speaks.
conference.
Yeah, what the lesson that I took out of that, if you look at his Bulgarian folk art, Art Nouveau pieces. They are very, very Bezalel, but in a using Bulgarian idioms and folk traditions. Folk and counterculture or culture, national culture, is an international thing. There are forms and styles to it, to the point that this chubby Jewish guy
Yeah, it's true.
is like responsible for the 20s, the folk style of two nations. And that's where a lot of the Hatikvah thing came in. It was like, we just have to act counterculture and we'll be counterculture, and then we can actually play the part.
Oh, I love that, man. That's such a fantastic thing. And what are you excited about with the collective and your own work going forward? What's on the horizon?
We have a Hanukkah fair coming up. We're searching for a space, but it's going to happen. Normally it happens in Brooklyn, and it's sort of it's Jewish Comic-Con is what it is. This whole community of artists and activists all come together around Hanukkah time, and we did it during the summer. And diaspora Zionism, being a Zionist feels like the most natural thing in the world in that space.
That's awesome, man. That's
so
awesome.
I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to hanging out with my crew of Zionists.
That's
giving
great.
them some stickers.
And loading them up with stickers, right? And the know-how.
Which at this point are emblems of that attitude.
And Elisha, you've shared so many great things today, and you've picked up a torch, for something huge that's happened in our lifetime on a generational level. We didn't know stuff coming into October 7th that we should have. What do you want the next generation who's hearing this and thinking about getting one of these printers and looking you up and making a sticker? What should they know going into something like that?
That nothing in your past at any point is wasted.
Oh.
That everything, if you decide that you're on a journey and you need to do something for the Jewish people in your own way, everything will come together in whatever you put together. That's what I would hope people would take from this story.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm also always curious, like your way of interacting and putting work on the street and being in places, has that led to any constructive conversations with folks on, say, the other side? I don't want to even name it, right? Because it's like, what even is it? But like folks who treat Israel as an enemy, and the Jewish people as enemies. Have you had anything constructive come out of interactions?
Our stuff is for the already in, to be honest with you. I've never, my audience, and this is different for every artist in our collective. Gabe can speak. Gabe, who's an October 8th Jew, Gabe Meister, Gabe draws, is able to speak to that audience beautifully. Wow. My audience has always been other Jews. So as far as other Jews that have seen our work on the street, I've only ever had, woo, yay, keep going. And that's on the Upper West Side is where I like to put up stickers, because your audience is there for me, and it's heartening.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you understanding my question, right, and given your the way you connect with your audience, right?
Right. I know how I do it. I have never had an expectation of reaching the anti-Zionists.
But you do, like, and you said
mostly because they hate it.
because they hate it. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that antagonistic quality to what stickers do, because it's like they're in your face.
The antagonism is reinforcing.
Yeah.
As soon as someone puts up one and then puts up another and puts up another with a smile, then there's a cheeky fuck you in that.
Yeah. And it seems like too, stickers can get, I mean, what's the most amount of slaps you've put on one space in terms of trying to like reclaim it, like when sticker wars start?
I've got walls. I'm like, my favorite thing is to make one big image. So if you kind of tile them,
that's right.
You make a puzzle.
Oh, I love it. So what's the biggest one you've made, or have you ever had to go over one a couple, 3 times? What's the most?
I'd say after the B-Boss Boys, I handled my mourning process, which was complicated because we all had it in some ways, especially everyone involved in and especially everyone who had put up the faces, because there's this connection everyone had. I must have covered every police box, which is about, let's see, this 3 feet by 3 feet for like 30 blocks with like We Mourn the B-Bus Boys, with this image by Naftali Ash of an angel holding the 2 babies.
Yeah.
In orange.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. That was my mourning process, but yeah. That's not to be sad. No, it's okay. That's the largest that I've ever done, and there's an element. Actually, someone just asked me, accusingly, like I was putting something up for Tisha B'Av because I like to mark holidays. It's like Titus, we're still here, with a picture of the menorah, and Titus.
Funny. Right, because you're referring to Arch of Titus.
And then
which shows the looting of Jerusalem.
Exactly.
Right.
And someone in this fancy Upper West Side building comes out and goes, "What are you doing? You're so selfish. How dare you? Why are you doing this?" And I go, "Brother, so that you see it."
Oh.
He loved that.
That is such a New York thing to say.
And then he walked away. It wasn't kind, but it was my intention.
That's so cool. So so we've got the Hatikvah Sticker Collective. We've got the book, right? Hashem's Throne is covered with hostage stickers. Is that
God's Throne?
God's Throne.
Testimonies from the October 7th hostage sticker campaign.
Magnificent.
And that's got full page images. It's a coffee table book that's got full page images of all of our stickers up to a certain point. And it's got 20 oral histories of testimonies of our activists talking about their experiences with these stickers and how it's changed them.
Man, that's so cool. And then Hatikvah Sticker Collective.com.
Net. Hatikvah Sticker Collective.net.
Nice, is where folks can find you. And then also, we're going to list all this stuff.
Wonderful.
But then also on Instagram.
Hatikvah Sticker Collective. Hatikvah Collective on Instagram. Also check out Gabe Draws, probably our most popular artist by far. He's wonderful. I'm looking forward to your interview with him.
Yes, I would love to. Please, next time you see him or talk to him.
His take on anti-Zionism is nuanced and powerful, and he uses his art to fight it.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate you giving him the torch on that. It'd be a wonderful discussion.
In this, big time. At this point, we're partners in this. Yeah.
Kol hakavod, man. Way to
Thank
go.
you. And we're always looking for artists. We're always looking for collaborators. Help us build this brave new Jewish world.
Fabulous. Well, my friend Elisha, this has been a wonderful discussion. I think I wrote more notes than I have questions here for you, because you're such a smart guy and you're so generous with your brain. So, and your heart, man. So really appreciate you, and so cool to learn about all these layers and dimensions to you and all the things that you're doing and the folks you're bringing with you. So
I'm beyond flattered to be here, and here's to the Jewish future.
Hey. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
You have been listening to the Jewish Futurism Lab with Mike Worth, a weekly independent production of Mike Worth Art Incorporated. You can connect with the show at jewishfuturismlab.com, and we're on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We'd love for you to subscribe, comment, and leave a review so other seekers can find the show too. New episodes come out Friday mornings East Coast time. And if you or someone you know is a Jewish futurist doing fascinating work, message me on Instagram. I'm at Mike Worth, WIRTH. Until next time, keep imagining, keep questioning, and keep building. I'll see you in the future.